Newcastle are back. 9 games, 9 wins, 6 clean sheets. Isak has scored 8 on the bounce and they sit 4th, just 5 points off 2nd place. But where has all of this come from? From managing just 1 shot away at Crystal Palace at the end of November to beating Arsenal 2-0 away at the Emirates. They have been brilliant, but it's important to note that within this run they haven't just played lower teams. They've beaten Arsenal, Aston Villa and 2 lower teams now in Manchester United and Spurs, but the point is they look very strong at the moment. So in this video I'll be diving into what was going wrong for Newcastle, what has Eddie Howe changed, the tactical system, how good they are and where they could finish at the end of the season. Let's go. Ever since that dismal showing away at Brentford when they lost 4-2, they've won every single game. Before this run, Eddie Howe's team were very inconsistent. There was a major over-reliance on Alexander Isak's quality to bring them goals. They were exposed in transition, especially down flanks, as Lewis Hall found himself out of position, chasing back very often. It seemed whenever an opposition had moved the ball fast, they broke Newcastle down. As well as this, there wasn't the same fluency in their attack, the passing combinations, any real plan of how to break a team down and move it with a real intent. A huge lack of confidence is one of the biggest denominators, of course, which leads to some of the biggest of players being out of form. Anthony Gordon, Alexander Isak, Joelinton, and you can even argue Bruno Guimaraes. But now, things have changed. Confidence is sky high as Newcastle are averaging 2.9 goals in their last 9 matches, generating an average of 2.1 xG from their last 11. Some more impressive stats show that Bruno G is on 8 assists in his last 10, Isak on 12 goals in his last 10 games, and Anthony Gordon with a goal contribution for every Premier League start he's made since the 4th of December. So what has kick-started this monstrous run? Well, if you want to put it simply, they played against Leicester. Eddie Howe has moved Tonali to defensive midfield and their confidence is up. But if you're looking for a more elaborate answer, then Howe has done a few more things. Firstly, he's utilised Bruno higher up in the 8, Tonali in the 6, Joelinton as their left-sided 8 and Jacob Murphy on the right-hand side, who has been fantastic. This may not seem like a monumental change, but these are players actually playing in their position. Tonali's better at defensive midfield where he can sweep up play, make interceptions and pass the ball forward. Bruno is much better when he has influence higher up the pitch, carrying it forwards to their forwards. To add on Tonali's impact, he's finally settling into Newcastle with a strong run of form in the side. He's been exceptional in offering strong support in transition to Newcastle's back line as he's highly athletic and calm with the ball and when defending. Secondly, the defence is much tighter. This follows the first point with the impact of Tonali, but teams struggle to break Newcastle down now. They look like their past selves with 6 clean sheets in their last 9, and Dubravka before the Wolves game only had to be brought into action with 12 saves in his last 8 matches played. Every time a team tries to break away from Newcastle, there's a fair amount of numbers back, and the physicality and ability to intercept from Burn, Shah and Tonali is top. And thirdly, the obvious tool to any winning run, confidence. So let's have a look at how they set up tactically. Eddie Howe lines them up in their usual 4-3-3. They press man-to-man as usual and shape up in a 4-5-1 from deep in their own half. With the ball higher up, they shape in a 2-3-5 depending on where the ball is flowing. If the ball is moving down the right with Jacob Murphy, the right back Livramento pushes up either underlapping and coming inside or providing him with an overlap down the touchline as Lewis Hall on the opposing flank doesn't commit forward. However, if the ball is moving down the left with Anthony Gordon, then Lewis Hall pushes up to hold width as Livramento doesn't commit. The reason Lewis Hall holds width down this flank instead of coming inside is that Anthony Gordon shifts inside, almost like a number 10. This rotation occurs whenever Tonali or Burn or anyone looks to move the ball down this flank. This is playfully done to pin the opponent's fullback to Gordon with his movements, leaving Lewis Hall with more time and space to execute a cross. And his crosses are very good. So to give him more time, that extra second or two really unleashes more precision on his crosses. You can see this work to perfection against Manchester United and against Leicester City. 2 goals finished off by the prolific Swedish striker. When crossing the ball, they use Joelinton and Isak particularly higher up as the crossing targets. 2 huge physical aerial players to aim for. When building out from the back, Bruno G drops to partner Sandro Tonali, whilst Joelinton stays high. This for me exemplifies the balance Newcastle have as an overall team, because it's superb everywhere. To centre-backs who are comfortable playing out from the back, with 2 midfielders that excel with the ball from deep and carrying it forward, whilst being able to hit it long into physical targets higher up. Where after that, you have the speed of Gordon and Murphy feeding off them, perfectly presenting Eddie Howe's flexibility, but also quality in squad building in the way that he wants to play. After the play out when the ball is much higher up the pitch, they are very comfortable and well oriented. Tonali from deep dictating the play, looking to pass the ball forward or wide, whilst Bruno looks to drop in deep at times when he can. He doesn't always have to stay high, with Gordon coming inside and Joelinton there too. He has the physical capacity and fitness to drop in, drive it forwards himself and make quick passing combinations like he does here against Wolves, combining with Isak, and with his physical insistence on the ball you can't really take it from him. If you try to, he'll throw his body into the tackler as a way of stamping authority. He also combines really well and shares a great on-field relationship with Tonali. The 2 of them have a great understanding of each other. When Bruno drops in deep, it's also a way for the Geordies to make space centrally. You can see this here when he drops deep, he takes Gomez away from Joelinton as Shah makes the simple forwards pass freely, giving Newcastle a chance to drive forwards, which nearly leads to a goal. When I touched on Lewis Hall pushing higher and wide holding width, this doesn't mean he doesn't help out when playing up the pitch. The rotation only happens when Gordon and his movement comes to play. Hall will drop in to receive the ball and carry it forwards with his high energy. But we've gone this far without talking about this man, Alexander Isak, so naturally gifted and a complete forward who can do pretty much anything you ask him to. Drop in deep, run in behind, get on the end of crosses, score headers, playmake. He is absolutely incredible and unstoppable at his best. His second goal against Wolves looked so easy, but 2 touches and it's in the back of the net. It's not like he's so one-dimensional striker either, who can only finish from close range. His finish against Liverpool is one of the goals of the season for me. He's the best all-round striker probably in world football right now, who also excels in wide positions. This is another tool that Howe uses. Gordon rotates and moves inwards whilst Isak drifts out wide. In transition, this is devastating because Isak's pace and power on his preferred side with more space to be exploited is frightening for any goalkeeper and defence, as he loves to drive the ball back onto his right foot, allowing him to generate more power onto his shot. This is another fine example of Eddie Howe adjusting to support everybody's qualities. Isak sees more action from central and wide spaces, as does Anthony Gordon. Tonali plays his preferred position, as does Joelinton, and Bruno G gets to play higher up and from deep, keeping everybody on the pitch nice and happy. When watching the Wolves game, I noticed every time Newcastle had a chance, Wolves looked to break away instantly, thinking they could catch them on transition. Well, they couldn't, especially in that first half. They had numbers back, 3 mostly. Tonali did a great job intercepting and sweeping up the play. Bayern physically dominated Strand Larsen as Hull and Livramento got back fast. This was something they struggled at before, but now they keep winning those transitional battles and cancelling out the play fast. So the opposition becomes way more sloppier and sloppier as Newcastle become more dominant. When they press, we know Newcastle are aggressive, man-to-man, difficult for a team to play out against at St James's Park. They press here with Isak pushing onto the goalkeeper, Murphy, Gordon onto the wide centre-backs, and Joelinton eliminating the central space. So no real easy passing option for Jose Sarr, because the rest of the black and white shirts are man-to-man too, so a long ball is the only option, where physically and aerially Dan Burn Fabian Schär, Sandro Tonali will do just fine. So all Newcastle have to do is force the opposition backwards with the ball, then they've pretty much got the ball back. And to add, Dubravka in the past has been very shaky when Newcastle needed him, when Pope was unavailable, but he's been impressive. 6 clean sheets in his last 9. Of course, with how good defensively Newcastle have been, he's not had to do much, but he was forced to make 7 saves for Wolves, with 6 of them taking place in the second half, showing when called to action, he'll do just fine. Newcastle have been fantastic on this run, but I do worry that if there was an injury to occur to Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali, Alexander Isak, it would completely derail the structure that they've built. But they're on fantastic form, confidence is high, and it sets them up nicely for a top 4 finish. Of course, there's a lot of competition there with Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Forest, but there's no reason, if they keep everybody fit and even strengthen in January, as to why they can't finish there and achieve Champions League football once again, and even win a trophy, finally. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to smash a like and subscribe to the channel. What do you think of Alexander Isak, Sandro Tonali, and where Newcastle United are going to finish come by the end of the season? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.